Y en este segmento vamos a entrevistar a una de mis estudiantes. Ella es bilingüe, habla inglés, español y es un orgullo para mí poder entrevistar bilingual professionals, bilingual entrepreneurs, porque yo soy uno de ellos, me manejo en los dos idiomas y me encanta poder tener la oportunidad de servir de esta forma. Por supuesto, ella vino a aprender sobre hablar en público, liderazgo en las comunicaciones y crear su propio podcast. Muy interesante, motivacional. Vamos a hablar con ella. Sheyla Toro. So the journey to create your own podcast, some people might see it like, oh my goodness, I cannot do it. It's too much work. It is work. I'm not going to lie. You have to put on the hours. You have to put on the work. You have to love the message. And that's why Sheyla came to us in Comunica Academy. She's bilingual. She's a Latina with a spark, but she has a beautiful message. And one of the things that we found in our journey to create a podcast was the storytelling, how to create, to have a structure, and to leave a message and to make it interesting. That's what I found when we were creating your podcast. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, definitely. I felt that it was truly one of my passions. It's something that I really enjoy. The fact that you can encourage others by bringing out your message to anybody, because podcast has no limits. It goes to whoever clicks on play. So that was kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to create more episodes. It's just that my life is being very hectic, productive. But, family requires time and there's always things that come up. But definitely, I look forward to keep creating so that I think it's a way to contribute also to your community.
Exactly.
If you feel like you need to serve, but you don't really want to drive long distances, to the organization, you can do something like this.
And you started with an idea, with a message that you wanted to share. And what is the name of your podcast, so everybody knows?
Yeah, it's called Sharing Life Seeds. Sharing Life Seeds is basically sharing a word of hope, sowing a seed of hope in people's lives. Yes. Encouragement is something very simple to do, but not sure why some people don't want to speak, or they just rather keep it quiet or keep things to themselves.
I know why, Sheyla. I know why. It's communications is leadership. You have to be courageous.
Definitely.
And that's what I see with you. Because if you listen, when you listen, you can find it in Spotify, you can find it in Anchor podcasting, right? There's another one. We're gonna put it on the notes, so you can listen to it. It's very encouraging, but at the same time, one of the things that we can find in her podcast is storytelling with a message. She shares stories, and is it hard? It was hard at the beginning to put it together in a way that it will click, that it will live, because podcasting, some people might have 20 minutes, some people might have 10 minutes, but to tell the story and to go deep into the story, that's one of the things that we work, and to make it interesting, because there's so much content out there that to make it interesting, to start with the storytelling that will engage the listener. I think that's the power of podcasting. Think about that.
Definitely. Like you said, we are in an era of a bunch of information. We are constantly being bombarded by lots of information. And so you have to make it short and sweet. And that's the challenge. That's been the challenge for me, because I like to feel free to speak. And sometimes you really have to condense your message and think about others. They don't have the whole day to listen to your story. So you really have to try to condense your message in perhaps 5 to 7 minutes. Because if you think about it, now social media, Instagram, when you scroll down on videos or reels or little nugget videos, it's usually no more than 2 minutes. It's usually no more than that's what I have seen. That's what I have seen. So that's actually the challenge, to measure your time, to make your message clear, concise, short, and sweet. And of course, put your heart in the message, because I think that's the most important thing.
And have a call to action.
People
too.
feel it.
I feel like the call to action. What am I going to do with this message, right? Because of course you're sharing your story, which is great, and then you leave a message. And that's one of the things that we try to do with this podcast. Make it, like you said, short and sweet, but at the same time engaging, that people will connect immediately. And we call it mini episodes. It's not, of course, if you want to do an hour episode one day, that's fine. But we wanted to keep it short, sweet, and just keep going to the next episode, and people will engage and leave people with a message. And what was the hardest thing for you to, like, I will say, I don't know if you're going to agree, but I will say that sometimes we can stand talking and we don't land the plane in the airport. We need to find the airport and land it to the point. And when it comes to communication, that's so important. Timing. Did you feel like timing wasn't one of the challenges that we had?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because even though they're not too long, I think the longest episode is probably 7 minutes 30 seconds or something like that. But still, I still want to make it even shorter, because like I said, we live in a fast-paced society where everybody's rushing, and everybody's just trying to get things done as soon as they can. So when you're listening to a podcast, in my personal opinion, if it's more than 10-15 minutes, I kind of lose my focus, because it's just the way I am. Plus I have my kids my daughter, because I work from home. So sometimes she will walk in front of me and she would just like distract me. Or sometimes my dog will start barking and then I get distracted. So I have to really make an effort and stay focused to what I'm listening to, or to, whatever I'm writing, or whatever it is that I'm doing in my place of work.
Yeah, and at the same time, you can do it anytime, but you need to be, when you're creating something, I would say you need that space in your mind, not only physically, but in your mind, that you're able to create. That's what you're trying to say?
Correct. And I feel like we also have to take advantage of the technology that we have. We have access to so much technology, the platforms, and because it's podcast, you can listen to it. You don't have to actually see, like, sometimes on YouTube, you can actually listen to it, but because it's a video, you stay watching the video. But you don't have to. You can just do other things. You can get other things done. Put your AirPods on, and you can listen to the message. And there's so many. There's so many different libraries, leadership, encouragement, how to speak 5 languages in 6 months. It's just crazy. Like everything that you can find in the podcast libraries.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk about your message. We went deep into very personal stuff, and I love it, because you have the courage, because you're not your past. You're not, and that's what I tell my students all the time, but you got it right away. You were like ready. And I love it. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud to be one of your mentors, because some people, they come with the idea, I want to share my message, but when I tell them, who are you? Yeah. What gave you the credibility to share that message? But you were ready. No, I am ready to tell my story. And that's so powerful, Sheyla. And I'm so proud of your work. Let's talk about a little bit the message, because it's to anybody who wants to listen about encouragement and motivation, but you have a specific audience Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's not easy. It wasn't easy because, like you said, there's an episode where I talk about my depression episode when I was 16 years old. And it was like a dark time in my life, in my young life. I was only a teenager.
I know.
But because of the passion that I have for the youth, there is something about young people that is just very close to my heart. And now that I see my son growing up, I can tell that there are a lot of challenges that they face just because of the stage that they are going through as a teen, but also the pressures, the peer pressure at school, the changes in society. Now, with all this craziness, COVID, post-COVID, and there is so much that goes on with teenagers that I just wanted to create something that would encourage them. And that's why it needs to be even shorter because teenagers, they have the tendency to get bored quickly. So I have to, excuse me, I have to really try to condense them even shorter, so that, because my message is specifically for young people, for teens, preteens, but yeah, it's very, I have to be super strategic in the way that I even speak, the terms that I use.
Wow.
I have to be very like easy.
You have to speak their language.
Like
you have to kind of speak their language, right? You have to kind of put yourself in their position, but you have an advantage because you have a teenager at home. You're kind of, okay, what do you think about this? Which is great that you're able to connect that way. And one of the things that you want for the future when it comes to your communication, I will say, now that we're all, you're growing into your communication, is to get that feedback also from your audience. Maybe in podcasting, of course, you can have a communication assigned to the podcast, to the message area, whatever you use. But also when you're in front of an audience, when you're talking, I know you do that a little bit at your church, and you interact because you're getting information all the time from your audience. The way, even their facial expressions, their body language, it's so important to just keep our eyes and our ears open to learn, to keep on learning. What do you see about that for the future?
Yes, well, I have been active in an organization, and actually it's a nonprofit organization called Toastmasters International. They have helped me so much. They are an organization that they foster a positive environment. They give you feedback. They basically you join. It's like a membership, right? And when I joined, I was actually looking forward to grow at a personal level, and as well my communication and leadership skills. So I don't remember who told me about it. I think it was a friend of my mom. She's like, oh, why don't you join Toastmasters International? And I was like, what is that? So I looked it up, and there was actually a club very near my house. At the time, I was living out in Alpharetta, Georgia. So I joined, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because they help you. They give you critical, constructive criticism. They do evaluations right after your speech, because it's all about presenting. And back then they had little booklets, one for communications and one for leaderships. Now it's all digital. It's called Pathways.
Nice.
So it's like projects, they guide you through. You can even get a coach, a mentor. You see the filler words, like, for example,
yes.
So, like,
those little things are part of. Those little things are part of the things. Yeah.
Sometimes you're not even aware that you say them, that you pronounce those filler words, but they tell you all these things. So this organization has helped me a lot, and it's been like 4 years or something like that. And that's the way I get my feedback as well when I do actual master of ceremony. Yeah, when let's say they're doing a community event and, hey, we want you to be the master of ceremony. Are you available? I'm like, I check my schedule. Yes, I'm available. And then I go, I have a blast. I love engaging with the community because I'm a people's person. And so the way I also get my feedback, it's, whoever goes there that it's, that we're friends with or family members, I go, hey, how did I do? And they're like, yeah, you did, you had great eye contact. Your tone of voice was great. I guess, they'll give me little feedbacks. I think you should improve in perhaps, I don't know, making it more simple when you give introductions of the speaker or whatever. And these things help it, but you have to improve your communications. You have to be exposed.
Exactly. Yes, definitely.
You have to find ways to put your skills to practice, because that's the only way that you're going to find out, for example, what is your communication style? Are you a persuasive communicator? Are you more like a motivational speaker? Are you like an inspirational speaker? So you'll notice, you will find out your style and your leadership style, because there are also leadership styles when you communicate that as you go, you will notice that about you. Even people tell you, but because that's usually the way it happens, people will tell you like, hey, you're great at this. Like, why don't you get better or polish your skills because you're really good at it or something like that.
One of the things that I found about you so interesting in this, you're willing to listen to criticism. One of the things that I was very proud of, that you will take action. I mean, you will listen to what I was going to, do this, do it this way. And that's not easy to find sometimes. People listen and they just keep going to another way.
When I hear the criticism from my mom.
Yeah, but I was very, like, oh, she's really engaging. I will just give you feedback. I usually tell you a couple things that you're doing right. That's what I try to do to all my students. A couple things you're doing right, but I would like you to do this and this. And you were attentive, and you will be like, okay, sounds interesting. Okay, let me try it. Let me see how I feel. And you will apply. If you can, we work with podcasting, we work with storytelling, how to create it. What would be the two things that you said, oh, I learned from Daisy as a coach?
I learned a couple of things. And like you said, when you have something to say that it's like constructive criticism, like, hey, I think you really need to focus on this or that. You need to get better at this. You're really good at this. I think that's the job of the coach. I think to be able to lead, to be able to become a leader in your community, in your organization, in your church, you definitely have to be coachable. You have to be coachable. So I learned this a while ago at a company that I used to work with my mom, and they always focus on this. You have to be coachable, because they did a lot of training sessions, and a lot of people it's just not willing to receive advice
or defensive
from others.
They take the criticism in a defensive way. And that's one thing that I think it's all the leaders, all the influential people, they were one time in their lives in a place where they had to take criticism, where they even ask, okay, how can I do better? Oh no, you did great. No. Tell me, how can I be better at this or do a better job? And that's one thing that I found with you. That was one thing that I want you to keep having all your life. We get older, and sometimes we have to take advice from our own kids, and it is okay, because it's a journey. And I want you to keep that. I want you to keep that, and I wish you the best. And that's one thing that is a jewel in you, that you are a good listener, and that you are coachable and you apply. It doesn't matter. You just listen and you said, okay, this is something that I can learn, or there's something here, like a little nugget of wisdom that I can learn, and I will apply. And I was very happy with your journey, just to be so attentive and creative?
That's one of the things I learned, like with time, and as well as at the Toastmasters International Club, because I'm very good at speaking, right? Or at least I'm getting much better at communicating, but listening skills is truly a skill. And many people forget that there is a time to shut and there is a time to open up. So listening, they teach you to listen as well. That's why I love this organization, because that's something that I didn't have. And so it helped me to grow so much at a personal level, because when you listen, you have the opportunity to bond.
Yes.
You have the opportunity to bond with whoever you're talking to, whoever is telling you their problem, their struggle. It's hard to find people to actually pay attention, especially now that there is so much coming at us to try to get our attention. If you think about it, all these social media platforms, their only goal and focus and the way they make money is to grab your attention. And the more time you spend on the social platform, it's better for them.
Yes, it's a money machine.
It's better for the algorithm. It's better for,
Yes.
So keep that in mind, and let's become not only better communicators, but better listeners. I'm still improving.
You are doing it. And thank you so much. Let's share again the name of your podcast. Where can we find it?
Yeah, sure. So Sharing Life Seeds, we have on Instagram. We also have it on Spotify. We have it on Anchor, right? Yes, we do. And we are planning to put it on YouTube, because it's YouTube is a very powerful platform. But yeah, there's still a lot of things.
The Instagram handle, what is it to find you there in Instagram?
Sharing Life Seeds.
Just like that. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Okay. And it's it's been great. Thank you for the opportunity, Daisy. You're doing great. Just doing interviews with people, not necessarily super influential people or like famous speakers, but people that are ordinary but doing extraordinary things, and that's awesome. So I commend you for that.
Okay, thank you so much.